Bray Wanderers manager Gary Cronin during the SSE Airtricity League Premier Division match between the Seagulls and Dundalk at the Carlisle Grounds in Bray. Altogether now, it's the most wonderful time of the year. Okay, you may be sick to the gills of Christmas carols and the oversaturation of all things festive at this stage, as they're forced down your throat with the ferocity of an Anthony Joshua Wright hook, but even a miserable fiend like Jose Mourinho would have to be moved by wide-eyed children's faces as they uncover the treasure trove of goodies left by good old Mr. Claus on Christmas morning. The beauty of the festive season is that, although it's primarily for those of more tender years, it brings out the big kid in most of us, bar the Grinch-like few that will continually point out the bad in everything. The television offerings on Christmas Day itself are a timely reminder of how mundane life would be without sport, with the majority of small-screen viewing about as palatable as cold Brussels sprouts dipped in lashings and blashings of custard. I managed to get through the day by gorging myself on mince pies and quality street, not to mention pouring myself a glass or two of a drop of the sweet stuff at such a ridiculously early hour that at any other time of the year would attract a lot of strange looks in my direction. Of course, I couldn't forget the true meaning of Christmas, where kindness to mankind is paramount, but imagine a depressing existence where soaps, movies we've seen 1,000 times, and Mrs. Brown's Boys were the pinnacle, and that level of mediocrity was as good as it got. It's enough to turn the cream on the sherry trifle as sour as Eddie Jones' puss. Mercifully, the sporting action in the days following our one day of supreme penance more than makes up for it. For me, Stephen's Day is a glorious thing of beauty that rises like a wonderful phoenix from the ashes, and it is primarily about horse racing with the King George VI chase at Kempton providing proper sporting drama, not to mention the top-class National Hunt Fair on offer closer to home at the Leopardstown Christmas Festival. A trip to the Dublin track is definitely worth it for anyone that prefers to see action in the flesh. The congested football program across the water also whets the appetite, with matches from the Premier League right down to the far from glamorous, murky basement of League Two getting pulses racing. Personally, I garner as much enjoyment from the lower leagues as I do from the English top flight, so there's always something to keep yours truly entertained, particularly on a midweek afternoon when most would normally be embroiled in work and the humdrum of everyday life. That said, I'm sure to be tuned into Watford vs Chelsea on St. Stephen's Day. On paper it mightn't be the most mouth-watering fixture, but after having more than my fill of turkey the previous day, it might feel like El Clasico and the Milan Derby rolled into one magnificent spectacle. If that's not enough for you, title hopefuls Liverpool hosting Arsenal and the Rangers vs Celtic Old Firm Derby on Saturday, December 29th should rid us all of any remaining remnants of the Christmas Day cobwebs. Speaking of cobwebs, although the PDC World Championship action from the Ally Pally displays all the tackiness of Halloween, it still produces proper sporting theatre, and you simply can't beat it for a bit of seasonal pantomime. Whether you believe the term sport should be reserved for those who actually break into a sweat from physical activity rather than just from the heat of the auditorium or not, there's no denying that for those, like myself, that invest themselves heavily in the drama of it all, it's edge-of-the-seat excitement, and the players need a high level of skill and nerves of steel to land the game's biggest prize. The prize for most of us normal folk is being able to sit back in the knowledge that we've given our all for the past 12 months and we deserve a few days off from the weekly slog. Being able to spend the festive season counting cash after a big payoff like a certain Mr. Mourinho would be the ideal Christmas present, but for now a few new pairs of socks and underpants will just have to do. To all that take the effort to read this column, a happy Christmas, and I hope you get everything you desire. If not, you'll just have to work a bit harder in the coming year to get on Santa's nice list. Ho, ho, ho. Wicklow people.